So I'm gonna ask y'all, get down in those comments and give me your ideas as to who put something in Stephanie's drink. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is Ambition Season 1, Episode 6. And the name of this episode is What About Your Friends? like, good question. What about your friends? Because it seemed to me that Miss Stephanie Lancaster seemed to me she done burned bridges with every friend she got. So the question is, what happened to where she ended up literally passing out at the end of the episode? So let me begin with this. Pretty much we get another scene with Damien and Amara at the office. Pretty much Amara is telling Damien, like, look, you need to leave Atlanta and forget you ever knew me. And Damien reassures her that, look, I'm here to work, that's it. I don't mean harm to either you or Titus. And, you know, hopefully we can coexist as colleagues and nothing more. But then once he leaves the office, he got this crazy ass smirk on his face. And I'm like, see, Damien's ass is doing entirely too much. And I have to say, yeah, Damien's ass gotta go, especially for what we discover later. I'ma get to it. So then we get a scene with Stephanie and Greg, and then Greg and me was like, "Oh, you already coming back from seconds? You a greedy girl." I'm like, that Greg Peters is a mess. Like, but she pretty much says that, well, the reason why I'm here is that, you know, if you're going to get this airport concession stand, we need to rebrand your image, you know, and you need to come up with a new approach with English Rose. And then all of a sudden, you know, she's about to leave or whatever. And he gets behind her and everything. And she's like, don't you think you had enough chocolate for the day? But he's like, baby, I'm still hungry. I got a sweet tooth. And then the next thing you know, she takes off her panties and unzips her skirt and was like, the buffet is open. And he begins to go eat. You know, and now all of a sudden he gets on his knees and it's all you can eat. And I was like, Stephanie, a nasty heifer. You nasty bitch. Like, you got some nerve to be judging somebody, and yet you up in here doing all this freaky shit with Greg. But I'm like, But hey, he turning her wheels, and we already know Evan out here being a slut his damn self, so it is what it is. So then we get a scene with Bella and Roderick. Roderick comes to Bella's house, and this is literally right after he got jumped by Evan's goons. They pretty much, you know, he comes in and he says that, yeah, Evan and his goons roughed me up. And Bella was like, well, you called him out on TV, you know, you should have thought about that before you did it. And he was like, oh, I stick up for your ass and this is how you respond? Like, oh, I'm out of this shit. And she was like, oh no, you need medical attention. You need someone that can take care of you. And he's like, somebody like you? And I'm like, she done got his ass again, because he's in love with Bella, but Bella is a hot ass mess. And Bella got a whole bunch of shit going on because we all know she's in love with Evan. And that's the reason why she's being so vindictive and being so calculating, because she wants what she wants and Evan won't give it to her. So then we get a scene with Karen and Amara. And Amara approaches Karen and lets Karen know, like, look, do not insert Damon in any of my cases, because when she had met up with Damon earlier, he was saying that, look, you know, we can, I can help you, you know, help you take down that crooked ass mayor. And she's like, why are you going through my cases? He's like, but look, we're on the same team. I'm here to work with you. I'm not here to cause any problems. Lying ass. But But she pretty much tells Karen that, look, I don't want Damon in any of my cases. I work solo. And Karen was like, look, if you got all this animosity against Damien, you need to fill me in. What's going on? And before she was about to say something, Damien just interrupts and completely diffuses the situation. And pretty much Karen like, well, hey, you guys work it out amongst yourselves. And then all of a sudden, he kind of says that, he kind of looks at Amara, was like, were you about to ruin both of our careers? Honey, you worked too hard to get this far in the Department of Justice. Don't let your past ruin your future. I was like, oh, this motherfucker is conniving as hell. Yeah, because, yeah, if it got out that you guys were fooling around, yeah, that's definitely, that's pretty much fraternizing. And, a lot of companies, especially the government, is destined against that. I mean, yeah, it's not against the law, but it's pretty much something that a lot of companies do not smile upon, because there's a lot of issues with that. So, yeah. So, he kind of diffused that real quick. But Amara's like trying to do what she can to get fucking Damien out of there, even if it means sacrificing herself. So back at Thelma's place, we see that Rondell and Kent are getting closer and everything, and he gives her tickets to Maryland's Women's Summit. And he pretty much tells her that, look, you can go there to share your agenda, to slave the banks, make some connections, But she's like, I don't want to be up with those stuck-up, airy-ass women. That is so not my scene. But then Kent lets her know that, look, you need these women on your side. So you need to go here and work it. So she agrees to go. So then we get a scene with Amara and Titus. Titus is still reeling. He's still in his feelings. He's like, did you see him today? Yeah, you need to get rid of him. Like, so she's like, look, I didn't hire him, so I don't have that power to get rid of him because I didn't bring him on. So it's like, oh, so you're just gonna let him destroy us again and all of that. And she was like, look, Karen transferred him in. And then he was like, well, you need to quit. And she's like, first of all, I'm not going to quit my job. And I'm not going to let him come between us. And by me doing that, that means Damien wins. I work my ass off and I'm not quitting my job. And he's saying that, well, if you won't handle it, I'm going to handle it. And he's like, I want you to myself. And then it's like, so pretty much, and she's pretty much saying that, look, you have me. And he kind of looks in her eyes and sees that she's telling the truth. Like, look, I don't want Damien, I want you. That was the past, because she don't want his ass there. Her and Titus just got into a good place in their marriage, because y'all saw episode 1, there was a lot of friction between them, and they've gotten to this good place only to have that rug literally ripped from under them. But wait till they find out that Stephanie's old messy ass was behind this shit. So then we get a scene with Evan. Evan's on the phone discussing Roderick, talking about him on the air and shit, saying that I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he on drugs or something. And as soon as I saw this, I'm like, he gonna get his ass fired. I just knew it. And then all of a sudden, we see that Greg Peters comes in, and pretty much he confronts Evan. He says that I want that airport concession guaranteed to me in writing. And pretty much Evan was like, you're not supposed to even be discussing that with me. I could have you arrested for even asking me that. And all of a sudden, Greg was like, is that a threat? He was like, yeah, just like the threat that you've been giving my sister. And he says that, look, I'll tell you what, Greg, I'll use my clout to give your bid more attention. But in order for that to happen, you need to leave Thelma Place alone. And he's like, that wasn't a part of the deal. And he says that, look, you got enough properties there. But he says that, yeah, but my contractors want the whole block. And he says, well, you need to figure something out, but that's my offer. And so either you leave Thelma's Place alone, or that airport concession, you can kiss goodbye. And then all of a sudden, Stephanie walks in, and she's like, so, what's going on with you gentlemen? Standing right there, still wearing the same damn dress after, Greg done banged her out for a second time after she let him have all you can eat at her buffet, down below. And pretty much, he's like, so then Greg was like, so it seems I'm having two different conversations with you Lancasters. Maybe you two should compare notes. So immediately that kind of catches, Evans out, like, what the hell you trying to say, bruh? So, because in a way, he kind of slotted saying that, hey, I just banged your wife, and your wife told me something different, and now you humming a different tune. But then before Stephanie came in, he was like, wow, it's kind of funny that, you got the Carlisle saying one thing, and all of a sudden now you getting a backbone. All of a sudden, now you going against them. But here it is. After Greg leaves, he was like, is this something you want to tell me? And we can see that Stephanie is kind of shook, because she's like, because I'm like, yeah, won't you tell Evan how you let Greg bang you out on his desk, with your little slutty behind. And then all of a sudden, Evan was like, do you know that son of a bitch had the nerve to demand the concession? But then again, he won't let up on Thelma's Place. And then, like, here goes Stephanie. English Rose needs the entire area, which is the investment firm that he's working with, and he says that, and besides, it would be a great thing, what's going on in that neighborhood. You know how destitute and dangerous that neighborhood is. You grew up there. And Evan was like, yeah, but it wasn't all bad. Our church, our parents used to take us to that church. Me and Rondell grew up in that church. And the daycare, Dad drove the bus and Mom worked at the restaurant, and Thelma Place was what held that neighborhood together, and it still does. And she was saying that, what if I promised that Marvin, but then she brings up that, but you got good things going on. You'll have Marvin bringing Belton New to Atlanta, and Greg Peters, and then this whole thing with Greg Peters, we'll have them both in our corner. And and then she says, and you know what after that means, right? That means that is a shoe-in to the governor's mansion. And he was like, look, I'll get to the governor's mansion on my own. But then after this concession is awarded, I'm done with Greg Peters. And if you still want to roll in bed with the devil, so be it. So I was like, damn. So he kind of shaded like, bitch, I know you fucking him. Because there's no love in their marriage. It's literally a marriage of convenience and a marriage of stability. And they both know it. So yeah. They kind of got... was kind of revealed somewhat that they have an understanding that both of them be stepping out on each other. But at the end of the day, their partnership is everything, because there's a whole bunch of money and also a bunch of image, in regards to their union. So then we get a scene with Bella and Stephanie. Stephanie is getting fitted for her dress, because Bella is Stephanie's personal stylist, and she's also fucking your man and got a baby with his ass. But anyway, but then they discuss Roderick, and she says that the nerve of him to talk about my husband on TV like that. She's like, yeah, I dumped him. And she's like, yeah, good riddance. You need to get you a decent man. And Bella's like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, Yeah, but Stephanie, little do you know, she fucking yo man. Um, but then she's like, but I wonder, could you get me into the summit, Stephanie? And Stephanie was like, I'm sorry, dear, it's invite only, but maybe next year. And then Bella's pissed because this would have been a good opportunity for her to promote her line and try to get some connects to help her further her career. So Stephanie's kind of so Bella's pissed about that, but Boo Boo, it just goes to show you, yeah, you playing these games, but you really not in their league, and it's a constant reminder that she's not. Um, so then we we pretty much see that Amara is on the phone in her office, with this woman. I think her name is Janine, and she's trying to figure out how Damien got transferred to Atlanta. And then all of a sudden we see that Karen shows up because Karen is kind of like, what the hell is going on between you and Damien that you don't want his ass here? So Karen's wheels are spinning, but she didn't say anything. So all of a sudden, as soon as Karen came, she hangs up the phone, and pretty much Amara says, we need to track down Roderick Johnson. Yeah. And she says, well, why him? And she says that because when they were at the Perkins Carlisle gala, they were, him and the mayor were very chummy for each other. And then all of a sudden now he's airing him out on the air. He gets suspended from his job. He's not home. Nobody knows where he is. It's kind of suspicious, and it may lead somewhere. And then Karen asks, is she going to the women's summit? And immediately Amar was like, oh no, that's not my thing. And she was like, you should go. We come to find out that the women's summit is somewhat of an incestuous environment. You might find something we could use. So Amara decides to go to the women's summit. So then we get a scene with Stephanie and Marilyn, and immediately Stephanie starts in with the bullshit. Soon as Marilyn comes in, she's like, oh, hello, Marion. Would you like some water, tea, tequila? You know how you like to party. I'm like, you evil bitch. You just keep rubbing it in her face like, I know your tea, and if you don't play my game, I'm gonna ruin your ass. And then, like, pretty much Marilyn is mad as hell, and she says that you can't blackmail me and get away with it. And she's like, darling, keep it down. The help will hear you. And I'm like, yeah, the help hears everything. Like, in all honesty, when you really come down to these big, situations where people are rich and they got servants and all of the bullshit that's going on, the help hears all the business, all the tea. They be hearing every damn thing. But she says that, but blackmail is such a harsh word, Marilyn. I prefer the word encouraged. And pretty much Marilyn lets her know, I don't want you at the summit, and I'm also going to ask the board for your resignation. And immediately she says, you do that, and she pretty much says, you will do no such thing, Marilyn, or Marvin will know about your dirty past. And she says that, and Marilyn lets Stephanie know, you may have the upper hand right now, but your day is coming. And she leaves. So then we get, Evan having another session with the dominatrix, Daphne, who's also his assistant in the mayor's office, and she's also the procurement director for that airport concession. So they having like their own little, session of dominatrix and S&M. She got this little new toy, where, it sends electroshock, and, we see that Evan is distracted, and he's like, I'm having like a really bad day, and, Daphne's like, you want to talk about it? And she says, if I really want to talk, I'll go home to my wife. And she's saying that, and if I wanted a bad attitude, I'll go home to my husband. And he was like, maybe you should do that. She's like, okay. So she puts on her coat, leaves his ass tied up, and puts a gag ball in his mouth and just leaves his ass there. Her ass ends up going to the ladies' summit. So I was like, that damn Evan is a mess. Like, you talking shit to this chick and she gets off on dominating and inflicting pain, and you talking shit while you gagged up. She's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna leave your ass here. I'll come back to you. So his ass, I was like, that's exactly what you get, Evan, with your nasty ass. Alright, so then we actually get a scene with, we're now at the ladies' summit. We see that Amira goes to talk to Irene, Stephanie's mother. She was like, Mrs. Lancaster, Mrs. Carlisle, oh yes, it's been so many years, and I just want to thank you for all you've done for me. You've been like a second mother to me, and, remember the last time we saw you, it was like Easter weekend at Lake Lanier, and then really Irene starts, oh yeah, and it wasn't long after that you hooked up with my Steffi's boyfriend. Give my best to Titus. And walks the fuck away. And I'm like, damn. Now you see where Stephanie gets that shady shit from. She definitely gets that from her mother. But she gets her ruthlessness from her dad. And then pretty much Amara's like, damn, like mother like daughter. Shh. But then later on we see that she runs in to Rondell and she's like, oh my god, I'm so glad to see a friendly face. And then Rondell's like, yes girl, you know what I'm doing. Like, she got a drink, like, yeah, I got a drink to get through this shit. So we see that go on. So then we see that Stephanie has a run-in with Juniper. Stephanie is there with her daughter Carly, and Juniper is there with their daughter, with her daughter Lori. And we already know that Lori and Carly got something going on. Pretty much, as I said, very Shakespearean. It's like the lesbian version of Romeo and Juliet. So immediately Juniper and Stephanie, we know, don't like each other. And then Stephanie was like, oh my god, Juniper, I had to listen to your boring ass on the panel. I didn't think I would have to deal with you right here in person. And pretty much, Juniper kind of was like, well, honey, I actually, talked to your mother, she's really getting up there in age. And then she was like, yeah, just like that husband that you married. And to kind of look at it, yes, Juniper looks a hell of a lot younger than her husband, Mr. Purefoy. So I'm like, And we already know she got her eyes on Titus because we saw that in episode 1. So yeah, Juniper's a freak. So we pretty much, saw that go on. Yeah, because she pretty much said that your mother looked like she's one shoe into a rest home. And she's like, well, maybe you're mistaking that for your husband, because here it is, Juniper's a younger woman married to an older man. So we see, so pretty much Lori kind of pulls her mother away. It's like, look, we definitely need to, work the room and everything. So come on, Mom, let's go. And then Carly leaves to go find her grandfather. So then we see that Stephanie walks up at the table where Rondell and Amara are sitting, and Stephanie immediately starts in on Rondell. It's like, oh, Rondell, I didn't know you were catering this event. And she's like, I'm a guest, honey. She's like, oh, so I guess the term powerful women is flexible these days. I'm like, Stephanie is doing the fucking most. And then all of a sudden, she starts in on Amara. She's like, oh, Amara, I'm surprised to see you here. I know you 9-to-5ers usually like your weekends off. And she says that, first of all, I have no problem, with hard work, versus, somebody who has power merit and, but there's a difference between, somebody who works hard while others lie, cheat, and inherit their way to the top. And she's like, oh, funny you mentioned cheating. I'm like, bitch. Stephanie was literally giving it. And then all of a sudden we see that Marilyn walks up and she's like, oh, isn't this great? All sorority sisters together again. Except you, Rondell. You never went to college. I'm like, Stephanie, you are not going to be happy to one of these bitches whoop your ass. But then Rondell was like, well, no, because I was working while in helping your future husband, but I worked so therefore that your future husband can get through college and law school. But by you being my sister-in-law, I can honestly say that I earned a PhD in bitchology. And they all chuckled at it, and she was like, and then Stephanie was like, oh, you didn't need me for that. You've been a bitch your entire life. I was like, Stephanie! I'm like, she was literally pissing everybody off at this party. And you just saw Rondell was like, she's like, bitch, if we won here, I will fuck you up. Like, Rondell just had that look. And she's like, I hate her. I hate her. I hate her. I'm like, yeah, but so do all of them. Don't none of them like Stephanie's ass. So then, we see, so therefore we see that Bella is still at the house with Roderick. She's talking to one of the women that's at the women's summit. She was saying that there are a few women there who are wearing my gowns. You know, I want pics, you know, that I can post on Instagram. You know, for some of the women who wore my pieces. You know, and after she gets off the phone, she pretty much helps him heal. And she's saying that he's like, wow, you really know your stuff. And she was saying that, hey, I'll be real, you know. She's like, yeah, you know, I got in a lot of fights in the banks. I had to take care of myself. Yeah, and he was saying that, yeah, and it's unfortunately the bank. As far as the bank, you got big assholes like Evan still there, you know. But he's about to get what's coming to him, and you know, real soon. And she was like, what you talking about? So he pulls up the laptop, and he's like, I recorded everything on my smartphone. And he's like, I'm going to air this when I get back to work. And she was like, nah, we can make a shitload of money on this, you know. And he'd be willing to pay anything to make this go away. And she was like, I don't want his damn money. I want to take him down. So then we get a scene. So therefore we get a scene between Lori and Carly at the Women's Summit. You know, Lori asks Carly, which girl would you go for? Number one, you know, real femme and pretty, or number two, real thick and more like and more motherly like. And she pretty much says, number two is my aunt. Because number two was Rondell. And she's like, oh, my bad. And then all of a sudden, Juniper comes over. She's like, oh, wow. It's great that even with our family at odds, you two can be very civil with each other. And then Carly, you know, excuses herself and she leaves. And then Juniper looks at Lori and she says, yeah, you keep working Stephanie's brat and get as much as intel as you can from her ass. But then we really see that Lori is torn because she really does have feelings for Carly. Because we saw in the last episode, she literally risked going to that monologue event to see Carly because she really does like Carly. So even though her family's in her ear, she really is not trying. She really is not trying to do that shit with Carly. But you know, we just see how conniving and vicious both families are. So pretty much we get a scene between Rondell and Irene. Now this scene gave me life, you know, and shout out to Breely Adams. She did her thing in this scene. And she said that, you know, Irene, I am literally disgusted that you are literally trying to take down Thelma's place and all of that. And she says that, first of all, you from the banks yourself. Your father used to have an office right down the street from us. Your father was a civil rights hero, and he started the Perkins farm right down the street from Thelma's place, and now your husband and your daughter want to steal from the black and brown folk. And Irina's like, well, my father was a great man, but he never had the funding like my husband, has been able to achieve. And she's saying that, and Rondell lets her know, I'm not going to let you and your family take the banks, from us. It's the, she says, I'm going to stop you from taking the banks if it's the last thing I do. And pretty much Irene was like, you sure about that? And she's like, oh, I'm definitely sure. And she's like, well, good luck with that, and walked the fuck away. And I was like, So we done got some tea that, yeah, Irene is actually from the banks herself. She didn't actually come from wealth. She actually, came from the banks neighborhood. But now that she done got with Steven, she's now airy and thinks that she's above everybody now. The thing about it, they say money changes you. Really, money just magnifies who you truly are. So we pretty much see that Irene is a vicious bitch, and her having money just magnified that even more so. So then we see that Carly and Lori are getting freaky in the bathroom stall, and then we definitely see Stephanie runs into Daphne, and she's like, oh, Daphne, are you avoiding me? You don't need to do that, honey, because, me and Evan have an understanding about these things. And she's like, excuse me. She's like, come again? She's like, the airport concession from my client, Greg Peters. And she's like, oh, no, the fuck you. Like, and it's just like, it completely just threw Daphne, like, really, bitch? And she's like, we should talk more in private. And as soon as she turns around, Merlin splashes a glass of red wine on Stephanie's white dress, white gown. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, And she's like, it's tragic that you have to leave early, because it's an awful stain. But Stephanie kind of gave her a look and walked away, and then all of a sudden we see Merlin like, checkmate, bitch. Because, she ain't want her ass there anyway, because she's like through with Stephanie, because Stephanie's trying to blackmail her to get her husband to move his company to Atlanta. So therefore we see that Carly and Lori still getting it into the bathroom stall, and then Lori decides, let's take this to my place. And all of a sudden when they come out the damn bathroom stall, Stephanie catches them right there, because Stephanie is in the bathroom trying to get that stain out of her dress, and Stephanie literally is there, and she pretty much tells her, so pretty much now Carly is now out to mommy, and she's like, oh, what the fuck is this? So she pretty much tells Lori, get your ass out of here, I need to talk to my daughter. Get the hell out of here right now. And pretty much she starts talking to Carly, and she's like, I don't know whether this is a phase, whether you're gay or bisexual, but none of that matters. And then Carly's like, it doesn't? She's like, honey, I don't care if you like girls, but not that girl. And she says, the Purifoys, they are trying to destroy us. And she's like, but no, that's not it. It's nothing like that. Me and Lori are in love. And she's like, me and Lori are in love. And she's like, and I'm not going to let you do this, Mom. And she's like, look, what you're going to do is you're going to go back in that party with me, and you're going to fix your face, and we're going to keep up appearances. And she agrees, so they go back out into the party, and then pretty much Stephanie runs in with her mother Irene, and Irene was like, is everything okay? And she's like, I'll fill you in, mother. So then we see that Juniper has a scene with Amara at the party. She praises Titus. We need to have you over for dinner. And we can see that, yeah, she want a piece of Titus. She got her sights set on him, and she want a piece of that chocolate. And pretty much Juniper, and pretty much we see that Lori goes downstairs, and she sees that Stephanie is following her. So immediately Juniper, that immediately grabs her attention, like, oh no, I'm about to go see what's about to go down, because what does Stephanie want with my damn daughter? So she pretty much says, oh yes, I gotta go, but give my regards to that handsome husband of yours. And Amara is pretty much Amara is kind of looking at this shit like, oh, this bitch thinks she's slick, but I know what you trying to do, bitch. And trust and believe, you ain't gonna get my man. So she's like, oh yeah, because Juniper is just making it known she wants some of Titus. Like, oh, tell that handsome husband of yours I said hi. I'm like, if you don't get your hoe ass on somewhere, Juniper. But then we also see that Amara, so then we see that Rondell comes back to Amara, and she's like, hey, drink? Yeah, let's go. Because they both definitely got that chemistry, because they both come, they both come from humble beginnings, so they can relate to each other. And I do like their chemistry. Even though, Amara is kind of filling in on some stuff, but she actually likes Rondell, and her and Rondell are cool. Yeah, but then also she she points out Daphne or whatever, and she was saying that and she was kind of like letting Amara know, like, yeah, you see that chick? Yeah, she works with my brother or whatever. And but if anything, Amara already knows who Daphne is, because we saw in a few episodes ago that she was pretty much, questioning Daphne, and she knows that Daphne is Evan's mistress. And then all of a sudden, she's saying that, yeah, and she was saying she overheard that, Stephanie, was running off at the mouth talking about Greg Peters', concession or whatever. So all of this, Amara is taking in, and like, Rondell don't even know that she's feeding Amara information, and that she's got a case against, the mayor, her brother. She has no idea. So then after that, we get a scene between Lori and Stephanie and Juniper. She pretty much, so Stephanie confronts Lori and says, you stay the hell away from my daughter. Yeah, and she was like, and then Juniper's like, what are you talking about? She says, well, I'm talking about that hard-riding spawn of a daughter of yours taking advantage of my Carly. And that damn Lori fired back and was like, she's just upset that I've given Carly more orgasms in a week than Evan has given her their entire marriage. And then she slaps the shit out of Lori. And then Juniper was like, are you out of your damn mind? You put your hands on my daughter. I'm pressing charges, bitch. Who the hell do you think you are? And all of that. So they going irate. And then Carly's like, why would you do that, Mom? Like, what is wrong with you? And she goes to comfort Carly. She goes to comfort Lori or whatever. And, Stephanie's like, look, we just lost our heads. Let's just calm down. And Juniper's like, I am not gonna calm down. She's like, let's just go have a drink. She's like, we would never have a drink with you, Stephanie. You got some nerve. And then Lori was like, no, it's okay. Let's go have that drink. I was like, oh shit, shit's about to go down. So then, back at Bella's house, Roderick gets a call. He just got fired, because, due to the fact that he exposed Lancaster on the air, they fired him. And I'm like, I knew that's what Evan was doing with his old simple ass. But then Bella was like, okay, so now that this happened, we should do this my way. And he gives her the hard drive. So therefore we get a scene with Juniper, Lori, Stephanie, and Carly, they're saying that, I'm sorry that I lost my cool. And then Lori's like, it's okay, it was just a misunderstanding, but we gotta go and say goodbye to Lori. So therefore we see that there's a Manhattan being prepared at the bar, and somebody slipped a little something extra in the drink. The question is, who did it? And we see that Stephanie drinks it. So the question is, who put a little something extra in the drink? And you got a lot of suspects: Juniper, Marilyn, Lori, Daphne, and while this is going on, they're playing Lovable by Sam Cooke. So I'm like, but then again, it could be damn near anybody, because Stephanie was a bitch to literally everybody at the summit. She rubbed everybody the wrong way. The thing is, will Stephanie survive? Alright, so then we get a scene with Evan. Evan goes to Bella's house, and he was saying that, look, you paged emergency about Joaquin. Where is he? And she's like, oh, he's with mommy. And he was like, so why did you page an emergency if he ain't even here? She's like, it's about Roderick. He's like, oh, your little boyfriend? Yeah. You're just jealous because, he loves me and my son. And he's like, I don't want that loser near my son. And she's like, you don't get to call the shots anymore. I got a little something for you. So she pulls out the video and they watch it. And she's like, oh yeah, when you was beating him, he taped the whole thing on his smartwatch. So, your threat's in here now. We're not afraid of you. And he's like, so what does this all mean? She was like, I want $750,000 and I want that airport concession. And he's like, you know what? I am so tired of constantly trying to save you from yourself. You never know when to quit. This is a dangerous game you playing. And she was saying that, yeah, but this time I'm playing for keeps. And don't worry, there are backup drives as well. And she was saying that, you really think you're gonna pull this off? And she was like, honey, of course it will, because we live in a Me Too world, and here it is. I will look like a sweet, innocent young girl who gets taken advantage of by a much older man. I was like, that damn Bella is working the fuck out of this shit. And I was like, damn, Bella got him by the balls. So we're gonna see how that's gonna play out. So therefore, we see that we have a scene between Rondell and Kent. He comes, to Thelma's place. She just got back from the event. Keisha was at the store, and she lets Keisha know go home. And Keisha kind of looking like, yes, girl, I ain't mad at you. Shoot. She's like, and they talk about the summit, and she mentions, I met this. I saw the woman, who works with my brother, dabble do, whatever her name is. He's like, oh, you mean Daphne? And she's like, yeah, and then she pretty much says also, yeah, and Stephanie's flunky or whatever, and he says they also run, and she says she also run into Irene, Stephanie's mother. She walking around like she the Queen of Sheba, but her funky ass is from the banks like everybody else. So here it is, she feeding information to Kent without even knowing that Kent has an agenda as well. Because I don't fully believe, I think he does like Rondell, but I think he also is serving his own purpose as well, because he's got ambitions of his own. But then she says, but one thing I realized, in order to beat a Carlisle, you got to think like a Carlisle. So they had that little moment. Then we see Amara and Titus. And Amara literally says that Stephanie literally insulted every woman that was there at least once. them damn Lancasters. And then she also talks about Stephanie and Peters and everything and her investigation. And then all of a sudden he was like, yeah, and I know how you are, Mara. You ain't gonna stop until you find it out. And she's like, you know how I am, and you know how I work. So they have like a cute little moment. Little do they know that this crazy son of a bitch, Damien, has the whole fucking place booby trapped with video footage. And this motherfucker is literally sitting at the damn TV, sitting at the monitors, eating some honey smacks while watching them like they're a sitcom. I'm like, yeah, Damien's ass gotta go, because he's a sick motherfucker. Like, seriously. So then back at home, Stephanie and Carly go back and forth. She's telling her to stay away from the Purifoys. We see that she's coughing and she's pretty much kind of, she's definitely choking and everything. And she says that, look, the Purifoys, they're a trap, mistreat, maligned, they murdered, and they're just a vile family. And then Carly's like, look, you can't keep putting Aunt Tracy's situation onto them, And she says, but look, you need to stay away from that girl. They're poisonous. And the drugs they produce, I will not have it. And she's like, you can't stop me from seeing Lori. And she says, I will stop you long as you under my roof. And she's like, well, I won't be under your roof. And as soon as Carly walks out, Stephanie's ass passes out. And that's where the episode ended. I'm like, this is going to be some interesting shit to find out who poisoned Stephanie, because there are a list of suspects, because Stephanie's an evil bitch and she done burnt everybody the wrong way. So anybody could have poisoned her ass, but it's going to be interesting to see who did poison her. But I don't think Stephanie's going to die though. But yeah, she's going to be near death. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, check out my second channel, Real Tea Real Talk. Go subscribe to that channel. Also, check out all of my other platforms in the description box as well. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of Ambitions. So until next time, everybody, take care.